Somebody said this meeting is being recorded. That was weird.
Yeah, that was the computer.
Yeah, that was the computer.
Well, somebody's computer just said that we're recording the video, and
It's like a new
Psalm 46 right now. So if you have your Bibles, open up to Psalm 46. Good guess. We're going to do another psalm from the 40s section. I had a hard time picking out which psalm I wanted to do because some of my favorite psalms are right in here. Psalm 45 was one that I wanted to do, and we might just do it again this week and do 3 from the 40s. It's a lot of cool ones in here. You can read Psalm 45 on your own or with your parents or with a friend. It's a neat psalm about the king in glory, and he's getting married to a beautiful bride. And then you have to figure out, is it just talking about some guy or is it talking about something bigger? It's kind of a cool psalm. But today we're going to do Psalm 46. I'm gonna, like usual, I'll read straight through, and then I'm gonna ask you, what is this psalm trying to say? And you're gonna say what you think it says. So let us turn on the thingy. All right, so it's Psalm 46 for the chief musician. Let me get this. It's not very much in focus. For the chief musician, a psalm for the sons of Korah, set to Alamoth, a song. I don't know what hardly any of that stuff is, but we do know it's a song. But these are the guys who wrote it, is the idea, the sons of Korah. That was a family of people that wrote and sang songs. It's set to a certain kind of maybe melody or theme. And this is the information for the chief musician to be thinking about. And here we go. This is a memory verse for my family, the first verse. It's hard to read it in this version because this isn't how we learned it. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth do change, and though the mountains be moved in the heart of the seas, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling thereof. There is a river, the streams whereof make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come, behold the works of the Lord, what desolations he has made in the earth. He makes wars to cease unto the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in sunder. He burns the chariots in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. All right, I think I can fit it all on the screen here. Take a few seconds and think about that psalm.
Mr. Dan.
Mm-hmm.
When it said it breaks the bow, it reminded me when in a few psalms it says bends the bow. Does it mean anything different?
Well, try to guess. What do you think is the difference between bending a bow and breaking a bow? It's a good question.
Defeating Mr. Dan and about to defeat. Mr. Dan?
Yeah?
I thought maybe like breaking a bow, like if you're so strong he could like break the wood of a bow.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the idea. If you break the bow, it's, here's the hand that's going to hold it, right? And there's the top of the bow, and here's the bottom of the bow, but it broke off in his hand like that. And so the string is going to be all messed up. Whereas if you bend the bow, you're about to shoot the arrow. Okay? That's not a very good picture. I'll use purple for break lines. There, does that look like it's broken? Kind of.
And
So I think the idea, all right, so, wait, somebody was trying to say something, sorry.
I heard a lot of repeats of some things.
You heard a lot of repeating things?
Yeah, like it said one thing a couple of times.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Perfect. Thomas, did you have something about the bow?
No, it's something else.
All right, we'll finish the bow. Does anybody else have any other thoughts on the bow? Sometimes it's talking about bending the bow, and sometimes it's about breaking a bow. David learned how to bend a bow of brass. That would be super strong, right? But if God is breaking the bow, that means the bow isn't useful anymore. So it's two different ideas. That's a good question. Okay. Eva, I think you said that there were repeat.
I think like it's like defeating the enemy. He's destroying the enemy's weapons.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep. That's exactly right. Alice and Dennison, he's defeating the enemy and breaking their weapons. All right. Eva, you were talking about repeated things, right? Can you remember one of the things that was repeated, or is it just something that you noticed?
The last line was repeated before that.
Ooh, I didn't notice that. Good catch. So the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Okay, so we'll do that. And we'll draw an arrow connecting it. That's really cool. I mean, sometimes we see Lord and Lord repeated, but just the full lines, that's really cool. All right. Thomas, you had your hand raised. What were you thinking about?
It was be still and know that I am God. That was taken and used in a song that we know.
Be still and know that I am God. Yeah, you recognize that line. That's a cool
I
line.
recognize be still.
Mhm.
I recognize that from a song.
You might also recognize be still from when your mommy and daddy are telling you to be still. So why are adults being told to be still? That's a fun.
It means like not be like moving around like oh no this that like be still like calm down.
Calm down.
Mr. Dan,
Yeah.
that reminds me of this song, Be Still My Soul.
Yeah,
What?
that's what I was.
Be
Like,
still
I
my
was
soul.
thinking of something like that.
Perfect.
I was actually just thinking about that earlier because we were learning about like a famous guy, like and stuff, and his favorite Bible verse is Psalm 46 verse 10. So it's really cool that we got to read this today. I really like the Bible verse too because it like that like God will be exalted all over the earth and that we don't need to worry because he is our God.
Absolutely. And when you said it with that echoey sound behind you, it sounded even more.
So that's because Jordan's in the other room.
But yeah, that's absolutely true. All right, so I will write be still.
Dan,
Yeah.
that also reminded me of the song Peace Be Still.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking
It's
of.
in so many songs, right?
I was thinking of that one.
Right.
And here's the fun thing, because I was joking about your parents saying, you need to be still. Is the phrase be still in any children's songs? I don't think so. We usually use this in Psalms for whole families and adults. Now, I am not saying the next time your mom and dad says, be still, that you should say, no, you need to be still. I am not telling you to do that. I am just pointing out that these are big ideas for everybody, right? Okay. Don't tell your mom and dad that I'm telling you to do that. All right. Let's start looking at verse by verse by verse. These are really cool ideas. I like to hear what you guys like. Okay. One thing I want to point out, it has the Selah word, and I don't read that word. I think it's a lot like these up here, that it is a pause or a dividing line kind of an idea. And when I pull back, you can see sometimes a psalm puts spaces in between verses connected with that. And this one looks like a song that you would sing, right? It has 3 sections. It almost looks like verse 1, verse 2, and verse 3. And the Selah is right there in that break. That doesn't always happen that way, but that's why I wanted to bring it up this time, because it's so you can physically see the break or the division connected
Mr. Dan,
to Selah. Yeah.
I thought like the Selah is right connected where you put the yellow. So I thought it was saying like maybe it's connected with those two.
Well,
It's like
yeah,
the
because
same.
each of these 2 portions ended with those repeated lines, right?
Yeah.
And that timed out perfect with these 2 Selahs, but they weren't connected with this one. And that's interesting, right? And so sometimes at the end, if there's a repeated thing, then you'll see this connection. Here's something else, just looking at it. We can count the parts. A verse in a Psalms is often 2 bits. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? You can see how that goes down. In verse 9, there's 1, 2, 3. So the pattern isn't perfect. You'll also notice this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you could say that this is A for repeat, 1, 2, 3, and then A for repeat. It's not a perfect pattern, but you can see some patterns in here, right? A group of 3, a group of 3, and a group of 3. I don't always know what specific structure and form they're using in these psalms, and you can learn about that. People have written and studied the technical form and the technical structure. If you want to write this kind of poem, or if you want to write this kind of psalm, it needs to follow this pattern. And if you look in your songbook at church, you'll notice they all have a very similar pattern. And sometimes you go, well, this song has too many verses. That's not true. There's not a law. Or this psalm only has 1 verse. That's weird. Well, that's not a law, but you can see how there's patterns, and sometimes they change it from the pattern. And that's a neat thing in this psalm.
I've noticed
is that you can physically see, just when you look at the printed page or at your Bible, you can physically see these patterns in these groups. And I think that that's interesting. Yes, Alice?
I noticed that a lot of songs have only 3 verses.
When we're singing at church, a lot of songs are only 3 verses. I think that's interesting. All right, well, let's start. Oh, yeah? What was the question?
About when we were talking about peace be still, it reminded me when Jesus told the waters to be still.
Ooh.
I never thought of that.
When Jesus told the waters to be still. That's a cool connection. Oh, you thought of that one, Jack, too? That's a cool connection. Well, tell you what. I'll draw a little bit of water to tell the waters to be still. And now let's read through. See these connections? Psalms are all about making connections. This is what we do. All right. There we go. God is our refuge and strength. Have we read that kind of an idea before?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll do here's the cloud, like a cloud, like that's where God is. And I'm going to put the cloud has big, strong muscles. Right? God is our refuge and strength. I'm just trying to show that this, just like show refuge and strength. A very
Maybe-
present help in trouble. What does that mean? Does that mean he's a present? Like a birthday present?
No.
No,
No.
he means he's. It means he's
Very-
there.
He's
He's always there.
there. That's
Like
a good way to describe it.
present.
Yeah, in the present time. So it flows beautifully. God is a refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. If you said God is strong and he's always there, well, that just doesn't sound like a beautiful poem, but that might be part of what it means, right? God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth do change, and though the mountains be moved and the hearts of the seas, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. All right, this is fun to draw. Okay, we're not going to be afraid, so you can draw a person who's just grinning. Here I am. I'm not afraid, even though the earth is changing, and that's what these verses are going to say. The mountains are moved to the hearts of the seas. So you can draw mountains, right? You can have like the mountain with the snow, and it's falling down into, ooh, I'll get my blue. Here's the waters, and the mountain
Mr.
is
Dan,
moved down into the waters. Yes.
it kind of reminds me of the earthquake in Corinthians or Galatians. What was it? The earthquake.
It
is
was
that
when he was in jail. When Paul was in jail.
yeah, and the earthquake shook
Yeah.
the city.
That's in
into
the
the sea.
book. The story's in the book of Acts. It's in the town of Philippi, though. That's really, really good. That's a good connection. So there's the mountain going down to the hearts of the seas, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled. I drew pretty normal waters. Now we got to draw splooshing, wavy McWave wave waters.
Like storm Paul was in.
Mr. Dan,
Mm-hmm.
it said like he won't be afraid, and even though the earth is changing, and it kind of reminded me like scientists are thinking like, oh, climate change, the earth is going to like end, and like they're scared of the earth getting too close to this sun.
Getting
It kind of reminded me because like they think the earth is changing and they're afraid, but that's the opposite of what the psalm is saying.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is in this psalm, he doesn't say that it's not happening. He says, I will not fear though, or that's almost like even if. So if the earth does change and the mountains fall down and the waves are troubling, or like you were saying, talking about the climate change and things get too hot, even if it is happening, well, we trust God, right? Because God is our refuge and strength.
And he's making it get worse.
And if mountains are falling into the seas, it's probably God's work anyways. You know what I mean?
He's no best for us.
Yeah,
So
he's
if
the best.
that happens, then it's a choice. We can't change it.
Yeah. Okay, Alice, what do you want to say?
The God,
Two things to say. One is I think that he's making them fall down to test us and see if we really trust in him. Another is, you know how it said, and a great help in trouble?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It makes you think he helps in trouble.
Yeah.
Like he helps people make trouble.
Well, but that's one of the things. If God is doing this to test us, like you're saying, Alice, then the test is when these scary things happen, will you come back and trust me? And so when scary things happen and we feel afraid, then we should go to God for help so that we don't have to be afraid. I think that's a big part of the test. Very good. Did somebody else have something they want to say?
If God makes the mountains fall into the sea, then it's fine. It's going to be okay with they're crashing and falling on us. We're going to be okay, because if God's doing that, that means it's good. It's going to turn all out.
I think that there's a lot of truth in that. And we read about that in the book of Revelation, right? Terrible things happen in the book of Revelation. And sometimes the Christians didn't get hurt by those things, but sometimes they did. Do you remember how they were praying, how long, how long, how long?
Yeah.
Did God say, oh, I'll stop it right now?
No.
Oh, he said, wait.
He said, wait a little bit longer. Time, and half a time. Remember that? That doesn't mean it's just going to stop, but that he will help us through. And I think that's the idea about how he will make it to be good. Now we're talking about, we just drew.
When they
Go ahead.
When they say how long, it sounds like it reminds me of how long we see.
Yeah.
How long to the morning?
Yep.
That's what I'm gonna say.
You should get your parents to do a word search in the book of Psalms. You can do it on a computer really easy. And I can't remember how many times. You should look up how many times is the phrase how long in the book of Psalms. It's a lot of times. How long in the book of Psalms. Okay, we just drew the waves shaking and he's not afraid, the mountains shaking and he's not afraid. And I think it was Bella who made the connection between be still and Jesus stilling the waves. So there's an actual story where Jesus literally told the waves to be still, and they did. That's a really cool connection in a couple ways to this psalm. All right, verse 4. There's a river, the streams whereof make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. All right, it starts talking about a different thing. This is not being afraid of troubles because God is our strength. But now it's talking about a river in a city, and then it starts talking about a her or a she. Who is the her? Who is the she?
I thought it's like a ship because sailors usually call ships.
Very often, her or she is a ship, and that's the right direction. It would make sense because we were just talking about water here, but it's not a ship in this one, but that's a good thing.
I was thinking, it said once in Revelation that she was us and God was the lamb and he was going to marry us. So maybe it's talking about the people.
That's a great, that's a great
the woman, the woman riding on the dragons and drinking blood.
Yeah, that was a bad she, right? It's not that one. But the thinking that it might be a she like the people in Revelation, that's a good one. Jack, what did you think? Okay, so you're looking at the context. That's close. I don't think it's the river. I'll underline river. That's a really good guess. Okay, there's a river.
Mr. Dan.
And the river, what does the river make happy? The river makes something happy.
The city of God.
The city of God. The river makes the city of God happy, and that is the her. The God's in her. She won't be moved. God shall help her. And so the city is the her. Good guesses, guys. All right, somebody had something.
it reminded me in Revelation when they had the food from the fruit of the tree in the river.
Yes.
The-
Yes. And the more you read the Old Testament, the more you'll notice where Revelation gets a lot of its ideas. Yeah. Yes, Alice?
I was actually thinking about her being the city of God.
Yeah. Good job then. All right, so here's the river coming, and the river makes what happy? The city of God happy. So now we're gonna draw, I'm gonna draw the city like all around this river. And I don't know how to draw a city, so I'm just gonna draw lots of houses. Okay, guys, let's just pretend that this is this city of God, and it's so happy because of the river, right? And I guess if it's a city, it should have a wall, like Nehemiah built a wall around well, he didn't build it by himself, but you get the idea, building the wall around the city. There's the wall, and maybe it goes over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house. It goes. So there it is. So here is this river, and this river. Oh, well, anyways, here's this river, and this stream of this river is making the city of God happy, which means all the houses have smiles on them, right? These are happy houses. Hooray! We're happy houses.
Mr. Dan,
Mm-hmm.
making the city happy reminds me of like the church, because like the church isn't like a building, it's the people. And so cities can't actually like be happy, and so like it's the people in the city, so that just kind of reminds me of that.
That's a good connection. That's the point. The Psalms are using pictures to help us to get a lot of ideas. So there's a river, and the streams make the city of God glad, and that city of God is the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. That's where God lives, right? God's in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. All right, mountains are falling into the waters. The waters are all fighting. What about the city? Is the city going to be attacked and moved by the waters?
No.
No.
It's actually the waters are going to help the city.
You could say, here are those angry waters that were so scary, right? But can they get past the wall?
No.
No.
They can't get in.
They can't even cross the river.
And they're splashing. They're splashing away. Floosh. I don't know. That's supposed to make it look like the waters are not coming in and flooding the city. There's a lot of those kinds of ideas. The city won't be moved. You and I might get scared, but our city and God will never be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. Is God going to sleep in until 11:30 in the morning? Is he going to wake up at the crack of noon?
No.
He's going to save right early. The nations raged. The kingdoms were
Moved.
Look at this. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. The nations raged. The kingdoms were moved. So this is I didn't notice this repeat until I started drawing and doing stuff like this. Sometimes when you start writing things out and looking, you can see even more connections. And so we will not be moved, but they will. Yes, Alice?
I was thinking that the city might actually be your heart, and that's why it isn't moved, because it's in your heart.
That could be something. The city's in your heart. But if you have a weak heart, your heart can be moved. But if you make it watered by the river of God, like in Psalm 1, the tree planted by the waters, your heart won't get moved away. It'll stay put. Okay. So we see here we will not be moved, but the kingdoms are moved. Why are the kingdoms moved? Because the nations raged. Don't fight God. It is hard to kick against the goads. He uttered his voice. The earth melted. Who uttered his voice?
God.
God
God.
uttered his voice. The
God.
earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. God can talk, and the earth will melt. But God is with us. The Lord of Jacob is our refuge. And so you can draw the world, and like here's this quick Earth, or at least not the Earth. This is North America, South America, and there's Greenland and Hawaii, and then Africa's over here, right? And then God, and it's full of water. Let's see, let's fill it full of water. Go around right, water. There's the water. I think I actually have green, so I can fill in this earth. Oh, look, it's a beautiful earth, and the nations are strong in her, and she can do whatever she wants. This earth is so cool, and this earth likes itself. And then God says something, and what happens to the earth?
It melted.
It just melts.
Now you get to draw a melty, droopy line. Blue.
Mr. Dan.
Well, the picture doesn't really work because I don't know what direction down would be because it's in the universe. There's no down in the universe, but you get the idea. And we'll make them big water bluches.
Maybe it would melt in.
Ooh, that sounds even more painful. All right.
Mr. Dan.
Yes, Layla?
I find it interesting that like God didn't have to like scream at the earth for it to melt. He just uttered his voice. Like he's so powerful.
He didn't even say anything. He just thought it and it happened.
Well, it said that it did say he spoke. Well, that's similar to when did Jesus have to go, hey, you son of Galilee? No, it just said that he said, peace, be still. That's the power. And so when God speaks and melts the earth, we know the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come, behold the works of the Lord. We've been drawing the works of the Lord, right? Behold the works of the Lord, what desolations he has made in the earth. Wait a minute. Is desolation a happy thing? What's desolations?
Being lonely.
Yes, being desolate. So what sort of thing does
Dan,
God
Mr. Dan,
desolation then?
Mr. Dan.
Uh-huh.
It's like just like if on Earth there's like a island with no one on it.
Yeah. So it's desolate. It's empty. So there are some times when God's work is to go like this. And it's gone. I make them there. That's desolate. Sometimes God's great work is to go and it's gone. Has he
like
done
when
that
he-
in places and cities before?
It's like when he did the flood in Genesis.
Yeah.
He destroyed the world.
Yeah. So that's a mighty work, right? Does that sound happy and sweet or a little bit scary?
A little bit scary. Scary.
Yeah.
Really
Come,
scary.
behold
lot.
the works of the Lord, what desolations he has made in the earth. He makes wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaks the bow. Oh, we were talking about that. And cuts the spear in sunder. He burns the chariots in fire. Be still and know that I am God. So this is what we'll draw. So there's these guys. We'll have to draw lots of soldiers. They got their helmets. Oh, we'll just do it like this. Guy, helmet. There. And they got their spears, right? We're gonna draw like big army. They're ready. Oh, I've got the sword of telling you where to go. And
Mr. Dan.
and what he does is the guy who's got a fist, and in his fist he has this bow, and you can see it's a nice, beautiful bow. But when you get down right here and there's this arm, he's holding it. There's his fingers. He's got the arrow, right? There's the bow and arrow, and the bow's coming down here, and all of a sudden it breaks.
Mr. Dan,
Yes.
when it said the horse, he burns the chariots with fire. My sister Ava, she just thought up the connection of we're studying Joshua and just talked about the part where they burned the enemy's chariots.
Oh, I didn't know that they did that in Joshua. I knew that the chariots were something that scared the people, right? Because those chariots would be scary and hard to fight against. Well, what does God do with those chariots? He just burns them. And Joshua, I didn't know that. That's a really cool connection. So I'm going to put that. Check out Joshua. And chariots are hard to draw. I'm just going to draw a really dumb chariot, okay, guys? Especially since I'm about to light it on fire. All right, there's a chariot. Like,
When Nathaniel drew it, he just drew pieces of wood.
Nice. Well, this is when it just caught on fire, I guess. Here we are. And then a broken spear. We got to draw the broken spear. Bing, ding, 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 ding. You got to draw the broken lines, because that it isn't just that the stick broke and they can get a new stick. The point is, when God breaks the spear, it's dead and it's done, right? That's the point. That God is stopping all this war. Do you see what I'm saying there? Like, that's the big thing. It isn't just that God can break stuff. He is breaking war, right? He makes wars to end unto the end of the earth. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. So in all these army guys that God is stopping in, do you think those are Israelites that God is stopping? Probably not, right?
Maybe.
He wouldn't break an Israelite's bow. He would break the enemy's bow, right? And then he says after that, be still and I'll know that I am God. Who is he saying that to? Is he saying be still and know that I am God to the Israelites or to the enemies?
I think he's saying that to the Israelites so that they don't just think that they're doing it.
Yep.
He's saying it to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
I
probably
think
the best
he's saying it
answer.
to everyone.
I think he's
'Cause
definitely saying it to the
Israelites-
enemies because he broke their bow and saying, be still and know that I am God. But he's also saying it to the Israelites. He breaks their bow and says, don't worry, guys, be still and know I am God. You know, I'm not saying I'm God. You know, be still and know that God is God, right?
Yeah.
But since it's a psalm, it's talking about two different people he's saying it to at the same time. All right, let's read through the psalm again, and we will close. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth do change, and though the mountains be moved in the heart of the seas, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. There's a river, the streams whereof make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us, the God of Jacob is our refuge. Come and behold the works of the Lord, what desolations he has made in the earth. He makes the wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in sunder. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Is this a psalm about feeling sad? Is it a psalm about feeling scared? Is it a psalm about feeling angry? Is it a psalm about
It's a
feeling
song about confidence.
confidence? Yeah, what other words?
Happy.
Happy?
Trust.
Yeah, it's pretty happy.
Yeah.
But
Maybe it's if you're feeling depressed, this is the psalm you need, right?
Ooh.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
it isn't.
start. Some of them go, oh, so bad. And then you read it and you go like, yay. This one doesn't begin with sorrow though. Some of them have sorrow and the sorrow is moved into joy. This one is just saying, God is our refuge and strength, which means we need to sing this song when we're feeling sad. But we should also sing this song when we're feeling glad. It's perfect. Is there ever a wrong time to sing this psalm?
No.
No. Well, okay. If your parents say be still, well, maybe just say it kind of quietly. But like all times are good times for Psalm 46. Do you guys have any other thoughts or questions before we stop?
I was thinking it might be about trust, like trusting that God will help you.
Yeah. Trust is a big one.
and faith in God.
Yeah.
Learning to have faith in God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you go. Thanks a whole bunch. See you later.
Thanks, Mr. Dan.
Bye. Thank you, Mr. Dan.